I am a beggar to you, I'm reaching my hand. You are the sun behind the cloud, though far you are near. Even if I don't see you, I know you are there. I am drowning, you're the air, you're my comfort in my fear. And I wrote your holy name on every tear. I'm at your door, I'm at your door, and I am knocking, pleading, let me into your remorse. If you turn away from me, I will lose my only hope, my only hope. Heart, I will shackle you in chains. If you forget Hussein's name, I will sever from you veins. Eyes, I will deny you light years. If you cannot shed a tear, seeing the head on a spear. Chest, I dare you if you would dare, call out anyone else there, I would deny from you air. He is all I have ever known, my heart is under his dome, beating for Arba'een. Oh, Yemen, lend me your holy hand, moment. Take me to your land, moment. Allow me to breathe moments. Hussein, Hussein. I am here to see the moon in all its glory. I am here again to listen to your story. I am here to close my eyes and drift away in a far-off memory of that tragic day. They say death surrounded you, so I came running to you, to be with the millions of lovers who came.
Inshallah, we'll be reciting Dua Iftitah with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. إلهي العاف، إلهي العاف، إلهي العاف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك، وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، واجب يا رحيم دعوتي، واقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها، على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه، ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه، ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره، وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده الذي لا تنقص خزائنه، ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما، إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير، مع حاجة بي إليه عظيما، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك على قبيح عملي، وحلمك عن كثير جرمي، عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي. أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك، وأريتني من قدرتك، وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا، وأسألك مستأنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبطأ عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبطأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك علي يا رب. إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك. خدایی که تو من رو میخوانی و من از تو روی برمیگردانم. تو با من دوستی میکنی و من با تو دشمنی میکنم. و تتودد الی فلا اقبل منک کأن لی التطول عليك. فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. صلوات.
الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على علمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعدله، ولا شبيه يشاكله، ولا زهير يعازده. قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتوازى لعظمته العظماء، وبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي، ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا عاصي، ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي. فكم من موهبة هنية قد أعطاني، وعزيمة مخوفة قد كفاني، وبهجة مونقة قد أراني. گناهکارا بیاد مائی چو توبه کردی مراد مائی، نفس کشیدی بصف گاهی یگان یگان را شمار داریم. تو خود ندانی که از کجایی ای بیچاره، بدن که با ما تو آشنایی. قدم برون از این گدایی که از این گداییت عار داریم. فأثني عليه حامدا واذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه، ولا يغلق بابه، ولا يرد السائل، ولا يخيب عامله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين، ويرفع المستضعفين ويزع المستكبرين، ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبهر الظالمين مدرك الهاربين، نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين، موزع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها، وترجف الأرض وغمارها، وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا، وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق، ويرزق ولا يرزق، ويطعم ولا يطعم، ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى، وهو حي لا يموت، بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وسفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك، وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك. أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأذكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفتك وآل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين، عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبتي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي، حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمن والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين.
اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك استخلفوا في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله مكن له دينه الذي ارتزيته له أبدله من بعد خوفي أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعز وأعزز به وانصر وانتصر به وانصر نصرا عزيزا وافتح له فتحا يسيرا واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم زر بدينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المن بي شأسنا واشأب بي صدعنا وارتق بي فتقنا وكثر به قلتنا وعزز به ذلتنا واغن به عائلنا واخذ به عن مغرمنا واجبر به فقرنا وسد به خلتنا ويسر به عسرنا وبيز به وجوهنا وفك به أسرنا وانجح به تلبتنا وانجز به مواعيدنا واستجب به دعوتنا وعتنا به سؤلنا وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا واتنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين اشف به صدورنا واذهب به غيظ قلوبنا واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق آمين اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله وغيبة ولينا وكسرة عدونا وقلة عددنا وشدة الفتن بنا وتزار الزمان علينا فصل على محمد وآله وأعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجل وبزر تكشف ونصر تعز وسلطان حق تظهر ورحمة منك تجللنا وعافية منك تلبسنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We just completed the day 5 of month of Ramadan. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the chance to fast, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your prayers inshallah, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the health, the willing, and the ability to complete this month through the end with fasting and supplications, inshallah, not only by mouth and by food, and also our minds as well, inshallah. With that being said, our month of Ramadan programs will continue through April 20th, every night an hour before iftar with recitation of Quran. If you would like to improve your reading, or if you are good at reading, please come and recite so we can listen to your beautiful voice. That's a good chance to recoup and read Quran, inshallah. And then we're going to have Maghrib and Isha prayers. Iftar will be served and provided by Masjid. And afterwards, we're going to have Dua Iftitah and a speech, inshallah. With that being said, we need your financial support, my brothers and sisters. Please see Haj Zia Yamili or Brother Saeed Razak and make sure that your monthly donations are paid. And if you can boost it up a little this month, because we're here every night, that would be greatly appreciated. With that said, please help us to keep our masjid clean as much as possible, whether it's inside or outside in the parking lot or in the restrooms. If you have small kids, please watch out after them. If they need to use the bathroom, somebody please accompany them there, help them out there. We don't have any paid employees to do all of these cleaning work for us. It's all our volunteers. And I do take this opportunity again to thank all our volunteers who are working tirelessly to keep this place clean and serve you food and everything. So for the health of all of the volunteers, please say aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The topic of tonight's, or the topic that Ajaga Mudarris has chosen for Ramadan speeches is rules of lives, or principles of lives, principles of life. And the topic that Ajaga Mudarris talked about last night was empowerment of intellect or reason.
Books of hadith, before the chapters on iman, faith, and kufr, disbelief, the one that it basically precedes these chapters are the chapter on aql and jahl. First, the book starts with intellect and ignorance. Then we have traditions about faith, iman, and kufr. So last night, I mentioned a few verses of the Quran as well as traditions about how can we empower, how can we enable our intellect and make sure that we are among those who take advantage of this blessing of Allah. And the first tradition that we refer to from Imam Ali alayhi salam was that knowledge is the key and experience is the way to empower our intellect. Our intellect is a light that Allah created with us. We have it since our creation, but we can disable it with our desires, with our selfishness, with our foolishness. We can disable it. We can ignore it. And that's why Allah referred to them, لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا لَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. There are people who have everything that they need for success. They have sight, they have hearing, they have the power of reflection. But when you talk to them, when you observe them, as if they don't have it, they act like someone who never heard or never saw the truth. So it's a prophetic tradition from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said that when it comes to aql and intellect, it's not going to happen unless, number one, we acquire knowledge. Number two, we protect it, we preserve it. Number three, we spread the knowledge. And number four is to practice it, to exercise it. So the more we know is not going to be the key to becoming aqil. There are a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge. You sit with them, they read so many books, they memorize so many verses of Quran, they know a lot. But when it comes to their decisions, their knowledge does not affect their decisions. It does not make them a better person. That's why Prophet said you should deal with knowledge in these 4 steps. Acquire it, then keep it. Because what happens to knowledge, we can forget it, we can twist it, we can add our own justification to it. So we have to protect it. Take it the way it is. If it's a truth, it's one form of truth. You know, we had that famous story that somebody was talking about taharat and najasat. That, you know, this is pure, this is impure. And this person was not very knowledgeable. So somebody asked him, what if on the carpet there is some form of najas and we cannot wash it? What should we do? So we have that this person, just in order to say something and just deal with the question, he said, you just cut the piece of the carpet that is najas and you throw it out. I said, why? I said, because it's najas. So are you sure? He said, yeah, this is what you do. So we have that at the end of the night, he went home and he saw there are multiple holes on the carpet in their own house. And he asked his wife, what happened? So yeah, I was in the crowd tonight when you said that ruling, and there are all these areas where were najis. So I did what you told me. So that wasn't for you. I didn't know you were sitting there. I would have told you to do something different. That is somebody who has knowledge, and their knowledge is different for them and for others. Yes, if somebody gossip about me, they are judgmental, they're jealous of me, they cannot see my success, they're small. We call them so many things if they gossip about me. But if I gossip about other people, I try to help them. The reason I gossip is not that I'm judging them, is a fact that I try to avoid and again, we have our own justification. That's why knowledge has to be preserved. In marriage, in relationship, imagine if couples treat each other with that mindset. That we take the knowledge and we uphold it equally for both sides. I just don't look at the Quran, religion, law, whatever it is, to just take my side and prove my side. If that is the case, it will be always an argument, always fight. Because all I care about is about my selfish interest. It's not a fair, it's not a balanced relationship. So, that's the step number one to empower knowledge. We need to use knowledge. We need to preserve it. We need to share knowledge, and then we need to practice it. Amal. The second step we mentioned was tarku amma la ya'ni, to abandon matters that they don't benefit us. Another one, stop wasting time. The more we waste time, the more our intellect will be weakened with every second that we waste for something useless. A lot of people ask about music in Islam. I talked about music a while ago. And some people say, why? What is it with Islam and this much ruling about music, that this kind of music is forbidden and is haram and all that? Why is it? The short answer for that is that, of course, there are type of music that all they do is waste of time. They have no noble objective. They are for killing time. You listen to them, you go with the beat, you listen to the lyrics, it's catchy, but there is no substance, there is no content. It's not that you feel in any way is helping you. That kind of music, we call it lahwi music, a waste of time music. That the objective of it is just to distract you. It's like a painkiller. It's not curing your issues, it's not dealing with your problems, it's make you for a second forget about it. And I'm not surprised, sometimes I go to a mall or all these stores, it's even coffee shops. Right now, it's rarely you find a place that there's no music. If you go to exercise or have a cup of coffee or eat or shop, there is something playing. And some stores, the music is so loud, you cannot even hear your own thoughts. Forget about thinking of your issues. Forget about your problem. I cannot even think. They're so loud. And the music is dominant. So anything that is useless and pointless, the more the share of that in our life, the less our intellect will function. And that's why in our religion, gossip is haram as well. Ghaiba is haram. For the same reason, gambling is haram. Again, waste. You may say, okay, gambling, and I answer this. How about the stock market? Is a form of gambling as well. The difference is gambling, there is no actual good work is being done. It's a game, it's sheer coincidence. For that reason, in Islam, gambling is haram. Engaging in it, winning, losing, doesn't matter. Because it's a waste of time. But in a form of investment, you're dealing with a business. A business who's offering a service. They're building something, they're creating a software, they're creating a hardware. And for that, you take a risk to invest. For that reason, it's halal, even if you lose or gain. As long as you know what you're doing in the stock market. Don't be one of those who just hear, it's a good idea to buy crypto, and then next day you can see half of your retirement account is gone, if you know what you're doing. But why is the difference? Is probability. One is about actually productive work, another is just a mere game, a pointless game. If the dice comes at this number or that number, it's not going to make any difference. But a company, how they function, how they operate, it makes a difference how your investment is going to turn out. So it's very critical to have a schedule for our lives. I talked about that in Muharram. Have a plan. Write it down. Every night before going to bed, rather than thinking about what am I going to do tomorrow, there's so much I have to do, start writing down. And make it steps that you can actually take. Don't put your entire life, I want to be famous. That is not a plan. Actual plan is that, okay, I have to finish this task. And then I try to have a plan. Don't have a free block. If you have 4 hours of nothing in your schedule, the chances are that 4 hours is going to be wasted. If you don't know what to do with it, do you think tomorrow is going to be a miracle and suddenly you know what to do with the 4 hours? So have a plan for it. I know that this Greek philosopher, I was reading about their ancient wisdom. I talked about the concept of ancient wisdom. We should appreciate wisdom, doesn't matter the source, right? اطلبوا العلم ولو من المنافق. The tradition says, seek knowledge even from a hypocrite. Seek knowledge even from the one who doesn't believe in it. Why? Because maybe what they say is good, but they don't understand it themselves. Even the one who doesn't know the worth of it, take it from them. Don't say because the one who said it is not a good person, I'm not going to listen to them. No, if something is good, take it. Anyone. So that's why ancient wisdom has a lot to offer. And one of those ancient wisdom, the Greek philosopher said, which is when it talks about death. He said, yes, death is near, life is short, but in reality, life is not as short as we think. The reason life looks so short is because we end up wasting so much of it. I give you an example. Imagine in 2021, COVID time. If you look back at COVID, what did you do in COVID time? All I did was watching stuff and try to just survive. That's all I did. When you look back at it, there's not much to think about. Rather than if it was a time that it was a year I learned a new language, I was able to get a degree or I was able to get a license. It was a time that I invested in my health, I exercised. This is the same year, but people, the way they used it, make it very different. Either it seems so short, that entire thing, for the entire year, all I did, I survived. That's all I did. I'm alive at the end of 2021. And somebody else can say at 2021, in addition to stay alive, I also accomplished these things as well. So in reality, how much we live is how much work we do in this life, what we accomplish. And this accomplishment could be in the matter of our financial life, our relationship with our family, our skills. There is something that we can do about it. But in order to see that time, we need to free up time from the waste and useless activity. Have a time for rest, have a time for leisure and entertainment. But as I always say, ask yourself how much of it goes to waste. Even for, I would say, have intentional fun. Have a planned leisure. What I mean by that, let's say we live at a time that I've been hating on social media for a long time. And I'm someone that I use social media as well. I'm not very active on it. But the thing is that if you have no plan, we end up wasting a lot of time on it. I am on my Instagram, let's say whenever I feel like it, whenever I see a notification, right? Whenever I feel that there's some time that I want to kill. The best way to deal with this is to have a time for it. Okay, in my schedule, I cannot quit. I cannot say, okay, I cannot stop checking Instagram. So from this time to this time, I'm going to check Instagram. Best time, of course, don't make it in the morning. For the sake of your mental health, for the sake of your sanity, don't do it in the morning. Do it in the middle of the day, sometime that is, you're not that attentive, you're a bit tired, you're sluggish. So, okay, from this time, from 2:30 to 3 p.m., I'll check my Instagram. Then even that fun time is planned, rather than say, okay, whenever it is my phone, I take it out. Because if you have a plan, then okay, if it's 10:30, I have that itch. Let me check what's going on. Let me see what people are posting. Then okay, no, I have to wait. 2:30, I have a plan to check it, so I have to wait. That will save a lot of your time, I promise you. You'll be surprised with how much free time you'll have. The third one, to empower our intellect. Imam Ali alayhi salam again said, يُسْتَدَلُّ عَلَىٰ عَقْلِ كُلِّ امْرِئٍ بِمَا يَجْرِي عَلَىٰ لِسَانِهِ, is controlling the tongue. A sign of intellect we have is silence. The more intellectual someone is, the more silence you see in them. And what I mean by silence, this is again an active silence. Because sometimes you're silent because you're sitting on your own, there's no one around you. Who are you going to talk to yourself or to the wall? Active silence means even if you're somewhere and everybody's saying something, but you don't have anything to offer. You don't want to say something just to say something for the sake of saying it. Then you decide to stay quiet and to actually observe, to actually listen. This is a great sign of wisdom. I was listening to this entrepreneur who was talking about the successful CEOs and companies. Leaders, let's call them great leaders in these companies. And he said one trait that they have, many of the majority of these successful leaders and CEOs have, is that they are the one that they speak last. They let everybody else talk first. They listen, then they say the final word. Rather than saying, okay, everyone, you are my employees, you work for me. Listen, I have to tell you. They listen first. So everyone on the table share. What's the problem you see? Any feedback, any problem? And then at the end, if they feel that something was not said, that's the moment they share that piece of knowledge and wisdom with others. So the third way to empower our intellect, our aql, is to stay quiet and to control the tongue. Imam Ali alayhi salam, again, the word is that what the content of someone's speech is a representation of somebody's mind. If you want to know someone, listen to them. They will be able to introduce who they are. Because, someone, you look at them, they seem so smart. A lot of people, they think, if you have a beard and you have one of these on your head, you're a master of knowledge of religion, right? Not necessarily. It's not that hard to find one of these and wear it. It's not that difficult to grow a beard, especially right now that is actually trending and everybody want to have a beard. So it's not a sign of knowledge anyway. What is the sign of knowledge? Listening. You listen to them and say what they're saying. What are they trying to promote? What's their objective? And that is not going to happen if we always are in the position of talking. One piece of advice again, practical piece of advice to improve your intellect. It's good to listen to audiobooks, it's good to listen to podcasts, but it's good sometimes listen to nothing. Silence. One of the greatest inventions of mankind for me personally is noise-canceling headphones. The greatest miracle, because there's so much noise pollution around us, sometimes you cannot find it. We were on a flight, we were going to Ziyara with a group of youth. Again, some of them may remember. I had my headphones on, noise-canceling headphones on. One of the youth was passing by and said, Hajj Agha, what are you listening to? And I said, nothing. And he looked at me as if I went crazy or something. I said, no, I'm listening to anything. There's a noise canceling. Sometimes we don't want to be even alone with our own thoughts. And we need that. You hear something, you listen to something, you read a book, you read an article. All this is in our mind. Then there is a moment that we think about it. We digest it. That is the moment that our aql is in work. Intellect is in session. And that cannot happen if I'm still listening to something else. I cannot think if I'm receiving new inputs, new piece of information coming to me. I need silence. So again, have a moment in your daytime for silence. I've seen it again. Recently, many people are into meditation, right? And what is meditation? One way that meditation works is actually silence, is that you don't let distraction comes to you. You close your eyes. You try to isolate yourself. And for a second, that silence and meditation of that comes with it, it lowers your risk of dealing with anxiety and stress. It making you calmer. If our intellect does its job well, we will not be as stressed, as anxious. That's the third one. And there's more again. I will leave that inshallah for tomorrow night. On weekdays, I want to finish early so you can inshallah get enough rest for the next day, which is a working day. But in summary, we are building on this topic that one of the principles of our religion is our intellect, is to empower it, is to enable it, is to use it. And that cannot happen if we lock it up. If we tie the hand of our intellect, then we cannot utilize it, we cannot use it. And knowledge, as well as a time that is useful and being productive, as well as controlling the tongue and silence, could empower us and put us in the right direction. May Allah help us to be among the aqilin, among those who do tafakkur and reflection, and those who figure out the purpose of our existence, to figure out why are we here? Where did we come from? What's the plan? And where are we going? If we figure this out, then our life is set. May Allah help us to find the answers to these big questions, inshallah. For the soul of all marhumin, for the shifa and healing of anyone who's sick. There are a lot of people who requested dua to pray for them, those who are dealing with health issues, mental health issues, and those who may be even dealing with sin and haram, that they are also in need of shifa as well. Let's recite Surah Fatiha with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. We stand up for ziyarah, inshallah. Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, ya Nabi Allah, ya khayra khalqillah, ya khatam al-nabiyyin. Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib. Assalamu alayki ya Fatimata al-Zahra, Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen. السلام عليكم أيها الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة أجمعين. السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام على محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام على جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام على موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام على علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام على محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام على علي بن محمد الهادي النقي. السلام على حسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.